Chapter 6. Responsible.
A murmur of agreement rippled through the group, raising the stakes even higher. Emily's mind raced through the various strategies, filtering through data as she envisioned the approach to the enemy's stronghold. What if we plant explosives, strike at the heart of their operations before they can mount a counterattack? Explosives, and maybe air support, Florian suggested. A combat chopper or two could definitely swing the odds in our favor.
I agree, Ms. Gunther, came a voice from the back, and the younger member of the team nodded earnestly. His words seemed to charge the room, each individual considering the implications of their newfound plan.
As the team settled into a more cohesive strategy, the atmosphere shifted from frustration to determination. The time had come for action.
Later that night, as shadows loomed over the city, the task force members moved stealthily through the alleys, adrenaline thrumming in their veins. Emily led the charge, her mission parameters clear, yet still adjusting in her mind. The evil force's hidden encampment lay ahead, poorly guarded and unsuspecting of the storm that was about to descend upon them.
But as they neared the target, a feeling of dread washed over Emily. An uneasy silence punctuated the night, a stark contrast to the bustle of energy in their headquarters just hours ago. The evil forces had been training hard, and the task force's bold move might not be as advantageous as they'd hoped. "Remember, stay sharp," she whispered. Crisis loomed, but so did hope. They would not back down. Not from their mission, not from their convictions. Whatever dangers lay ahead, they would face them together, armed with the strength of their unity and ingenuity.
The humming of rotor blades filled the air as the chopper flew low above the hideout, an ominous shadow gliding through the mist of smoke and scattered debris. The training room echoed with activity until the sudden explosions shattered the tense calm. The alarms blared, their shrill cries piercing through the chaos. Vince, caught up in a moment of passion with Walden and Code 1, felt the tremors of earth-shattering blasts, their romantic cocoon instantly pricked by reality.
"Why didn't someone inform us?" Vince's voice trembled with disbelief as she leaped from the floor, a flurry of emotions, a mix of anger and fear taking over. "Supposedly we were all supposed to be aware," Code 1 muttered, his eyes wide in disbelief.
Vince and Code 1 turned towards Walden, who grimaced in pain. The roof creaked ominously, giving way as the explosions continued outside. Without warning, another bomb detonated nearby, the walls of their hideout shaking violently. Instinct kicked in. Vince's adrenaline surged as she threw debris aside with sheer willpower, and then her heart dropped. Walden lay struggling beneath the wreckage, a jagged metal beam protruding from his side. "Ugh, this is so annoying. And now we can't let Walden die here," Vince shouted desperately. "Help me," Code 1 yelled, reaching out to grasp Walden's arm. Together they hefted the wounded man, each step a battle against their own exhaustion and panic. Gritting her teeth, Vince channeled all her energy into helping the only person left who could save them. As the trio made their way down the corridor, they could hear the shouts of task force members outside, the heavy clang of boots echoing in pursuit. The smoke from the explosions thickened the air, and Vincie cursed under her breath, urging Walden onward. They plunged into the heart of the hideout where the laboratory lay, the last hope they had. Meanwhile, Gertrude was cocooned in her own suffering. She sat cross-legged on her bed, clutching her stomach as waves of pain crashed over her. Her fingers danced over the pages of the tome she tried to read, the text lost to her concentration. Suddenly, the tremors rattled her world, and she felt Brunhilde enter, locking the door with urgency. "I brought the supplies." Brunhilde's voice was steady, though her eyes betrayed concern. She fumbled in her bag, producing scalpels and surgical equipment, tools she never expected to use in this context. "Good, but I can't take this much longer," Gertrude gasped, her face strained. Okay, just breathe. I'm a scientist, but I need instructions. What do I do when someone's going into labor? Brunhilde's brow furrowed as she scribbled rapidly on a piece of paper. The urgency of the situation pressed on them like a vice, and the sounds of chaos outside seemed to amplify their own crisis. Here, follow these instructions, Brunhilde instructed, her voice a mixture of calmness and resolve. Now you need to lie down. Gertrude hesitated, the reality of what was happening settling in. She clenched her jaw and moved to the edge of the bed. Okay, I'll do it. But you need to promise to follow each step. I can't— I know, Brunhilde cut her off, eyes steeled with determination. But together, we can do this. The ground shook again, deeper now, as if the universe itself responded to their plight. In the heart of turmoil, the bonds of loyalty and survival bled into one another, forging an unlikely alliance that strived against all odds. Somewhere outside, the chopper rumbled ominously, signaling danger. In the dim light of her cramped hiding place, Brunhilde lay on the unyielding surface of her makeshift bed, trembling as she clenched the tiny remote control in one hand. The room was designed to isolate sound, a feature highly valued in their world of silence and surveillance. She had chosen this sanctuary carefully, a place where the hum of the air filtration system would obscure her own cries, preventing unwanted eavesdropping. Okay, just do it, I don't know. Just push. The voice came barely above a whisper, but the weight of it pressed down on her, pushing against the swell of impending panic. It was a voice that echoed in the back of her mind, Gertrude's voice filled with confidence and determination. Yet Brunhilde felt none of that now as the sharp pangs of labor coursed through her. The remote glowed softly in the dimness, reminding her that isolation had its costs. If she pushed the button now, the echoes of her agony would fade into the ether, unheard by Rautha, who was likely pacing the halls searching for her. She bit her lip, suppressing the urge to scream, to call out. The very thought of inviting noise into her safe haven felt like inviting wolves to her door. Brunhilde inhaled deeply. What am I going to do? She pushed aside the thoughts of Rautha. He was in the building somewhere, working tirelessly to keep their world safe, while she lay here, held captive by her own body. Time became malleable in her mind, every second stretched into eternity. The pressure built, and in that moment she understood what was expected of her. She pressed the button on the remote, the comforting hum of silence wrapping around her. With each wave of pain that surged, Brunhilde remembered Gertrude's instructions. Breath, push, breathe again. I can do this, she whispered to herself, the mantras becoming a lifeline amid the storm. But just as she felt the pressure peak, a sharp knock resonated through the door. Gertrude, are you there? The voice was desperate, frantic, dangerously close. Brunhilde's heart raced. No, not now. She squeezed her eyes shut, focusing on the task at hand, her breaths deep and rushed. The next scream clawed its way up her throat, fighting for release. But she swallowed it back. Another series of knocks echoed. Gertrude! A moment stretched, punctuated only by the sounds of her body working against its own limits. She could feel the presence of Rautha beyond the door, his worry tangible, thrumming like a heartbeat. Finally, the pressure released, and she felt the profound shift in her body. With a guttural cry inadvertently escaping her lips, her child slipped into the world, a soft, fragile being. But in the same instant she felt an emptiness expand, a void that pulled at the edges of her consciousness. Gertrude's notes. She had to remember the notes. As Brunhilde's vision blurred, she gasped and glanced down, her heart racing with dread. She could hear the stillness all around her as panic seeped into her veins. She cast her gaze at Gertrude's hastily written instructions, the last beacon of hope against the silence, clutched tightly in her other hand. She began CPR, each push against her infant's chest a desperate prayer, a call to life carved from the shadows. Her palms trembled with fear, yet she pressed on, fueled by the slim chance of survival, unwilling to succumb to the chilling silence that threatened to engulf them both. The note. The first instruction you need has to follow this in order to revive me. 1. Make sure you had some substance that my mom injected to her. 2. You have some something like electric charge in electricity, so I would get my cells activated to heal myself again. Brunhild stared at the sterile white walls of the small room, her heart racing as she reviewed the instructions on her wrist console. Time was running out. She quickly opened the worn leather bag at her feet, revealing vials of iridescent liquid, the regeneration substance. With a steady hand, she injected a dose into her neck, feeling the cool surge travel through her veins. But she didn't stop there. Pouring a portion onto her chest, she felt hope wash over her. But something was wrong. No electric charge coursed through her, no burst of energy, only the faint hiss of the oxygen tank beside her. Panic surged, and she grabbed the oxygen mask, securing it over her face. As the oxygen pumped steadily, she felt her mind clear. Then she noticed the electric baton lying next to her. Instinct kicked in. She grasped the baton, a spark of desperate determination igniting in her gut. With one decisive motion, she struck her chest, letting the electric current jolt through her body. The world around her blurred, then sharpened as she felt her pulse pounding in her ears, a sign of revival, of life. Relief flooded through her veins. She was back. Quickly, Brunhilde fished her walkie-talkie from her pocket, activating it with trembling fingers. "General, I've been taken by one of the task force members," she breathed. "Where are you, Brunhilde?" came the voice of Caligula, laced with urgency. "Sorry, I was somewhere taken," she stammered, still processing the tangles of her recent memories. "Where's Gertrude?" "She was taken somewhere in Pesota, and I can't find her. I'm lost. There's trouble here. I can't locate Vince or my brothers. They're scattered." "Maybe you can find them." Her voice trailed off. "No, I can't find them. I've only found Rautha, badly wounded. Some troops hurt too, and my father. They're. Her words faltered under the weight of despair. "I'll do my best. Don't worry," Caligula urged, but she sounded distant and overwhelmed. "I need to find Gertrude. Emily could use this chance to harm her. I'm heading to the city," she declared, determination rising within her, even as lingering fear gnawed at her resolve. "I'll inform you when I'm back," she promised. "Sure. Catch you later," Brunhilde replied, cutting the connection as a bombshell of urgency hit her, demanding action. She rose and quickly ensured the door was locked behind her. The dim corridor echoed with the sounds of distant conflict. Making her way to the laboratory, she skirted shadows and evaded guards, her heart racing anew. She had to keep the baby safe, ensure the duplicator would work as planned. As she entered the lab, the familiar whirs of machinery greeted her. Scanning the room, she confirmed it was empty. Her chance. Without hesitation, she approached the duplicator machine, a complex network of screens and whirring parts. With deft hands, she placed the baby inside, connecting wires to ensure the duplication process would activate properly. Nerves danced along her skin as she initiated the sequence. 2 hours. 2 hours of quiet anxiety, but she had faith in the technology, an unwavering belief in the outcome. And then, miraculously, the duplicator whirred to life, vibrating softly as it began its intricate work. The clock ticked down, minutes stretching into eternity, but she stood firm, her resolve steady like the pulse she had fought to regain. When the soft chime signaled the completion of the process, Brunhilde felt an exhilarating rush. There it was, the duplicate baby, nestled softly within the machine, as real as the original. With the gifts of life cradled in her arms and a newfound determination coursing through her, she slipped back into the shadows, her heart pounding, ready to race into the chaos of the world outside. In the city, chaos brewed under the heavy glow of flickering streetlights. The air was thick with tension as Emily stood defiantly before Caligula, the notorious figure cloaked in a swirling darkness that pulsed like a heartbeat. She maintained a fierce posture, surrounded by a barricade of police officers and task force agents, each aware of the impending clash between these two forces. "Look, we didn't mean to destroy everything you have," Emily called out, her voice steady despite the fear that nestled within. "But if you want to talk peace, you need to promise you'll stop bothering this city, or I'll make things worse for you." Caligula laughed, a low rumble that sent chills through the crowd. "And here you stand, accusing me of ruin. But it is you, Emily, who walks a path of destruction. You claim righteousness, and yet you tarnish the legacy of good leaders like Gertrude." Emily's brow furrowed. "I don't know who you're talking about." Her fists clenched, each finger dancing with suppressed power. "Stop lying," Caligula snapped, her anger radiating like heat from a fire. "End this nonsense or face my wrath." Suddenly, darkness coalesced into a sleek, formidable weapon in Caligula's hands. An extraordinary gun flickering with dark energy, a manifestation of her unparalleled supernatural abilities. The police gasped, instinctively drawing their weapons, but Caligula was faster. A shot erupted, a blinding arc of energy piercing the air. The nearest officer crumpled, electrified, caught in a lethal pulse that left nothing but silence. The city held its breath. Emily reacted, her own weapon drawn, but the villain was a blur, warping through the very fabric of reality. Caligula flung her Roman helmet, summoning it like a weapon, executing a perfect strike that disarmed Emily before transforming her gun into a knife and stabbing her. Pain exploded in Emily's side. With fierce determination, she pushed darkness from her vision, reaching for the healing injection strapped to her thigh. It took but a moment, one swift jab against the poison coursing through her veins, and clarity washed over her. "Tell me where you've taken Gertrude," Emily demanded, voice laced with urgency. Caligula's cruel grin deepened. "You really expect me to disclose that? I'm under no obligation to satisfy your requests." Emily strained against the clutches of darkness threatening to consume her. "I protect this city and those who seek peace from you." "How noble," Caligula sneered. "But you're the one standing in my way, Emily. Don't you find it ironic that you've become the figurehead of conflict?" "How do you know my name?" Emily gasped, surprise momentarily eclipsing her pain. "Your face is on every screen, sweet girl. Popularity has its price, a burden you now carry. But look where it has led you. Do you feel the weight?" "I don't care about fame," Emily retorted. "I care about my home and those who need me." Caligula lifted her hand, conjuring energy that crackled ominously. The task force members, unable to act, watched helplessly as the dark energy lashed out, striking them down with waves of lightning that left them gasping for breath, their strength fleeting like light swallowing darkness. "Let me show you true power, Emily." In that moment, as despair surged around her, Emily knew the battle was far from over. She was frail yet fierce. She would rise no matter how many times she fell. In a world painted with shadows and light, she would uncover the truth and reclaim the city from the darkness that threatened to drown it. In the heart of a near-future metropolis, the sky became a battlefield as Emily dashed through the chaos below. Drones hovered menacingly above, their mechanical whirs blending with the distant cries of civilians. She could barely hear the roar of the approaching chopper over the pounding of her heart, each beat bringing the pang of pain from her wounded feet. The mission had gone spectacularly wrong, and now survival was her only agenda. The sounds of rotor blades sliced through the air as the menacing silhouette loomed closer. Emily's breath escaped in frantic gasps. This was not just any unit. They didn't care about collateral damage. They were hunting her, and they were getting close. She could see the glint of a missile as it was primed for launch.
Just as it struck, instinct took over. Emily slammed her palm against her eye, a maneuver learned from the survival manuals that she had thought were baseless theory. In that split second, she felt the rush of adrenaline as she shoved herself off the ground, narrowly avoiding the burst of flames that erupted behind her. She landed awkwardly, her body protesting against the pain radiating from her feet, but she couldn't afford to stop now. A quick glance over her shoulder revealed that the chopper was still in the air, and another missile was being readied for its next attack. Task Force's headquarters, I need a paramedic, she thought, mentally dialing them as she ran.
Sure, Director Gunther. She imagined the voice of the operator, impassive as ever. Sitting in the corner of the room was Brunhilde, her closest ally in an unforgiving world. Brunhilde's eyes were wide, shimmering pools of weariness and resolve. "Did you do what I said?" Gertrude asked, needing reassurance amid her fragility. "I was," Brunhilde replied, her tone frank but laced with anxiety. "I'm glad they didn't catch me when I was in the laboratory. I was so nervous after we finished the first plan." "Just don't be so tense," Gertrude chided gently. "Anyway, thank you for sparing me." Brunhilde's brow softened at Gertrude's recognition. "I've never seen you like that before. I'm fully sure you're stronger than anyone else." "Where's my baby?" Gertrude asked, a tenderness swelling in her voice that pushed aside the cold remnants of dread. Brunhilde produced a small bundle from behind her, a cleverly disguised replica, indistinguishable from the real thing. "Oh, here it is," she said. "Don't worry, I made a duplicate. Your real baby is safe." Gertrude's heart fluttered as she cradled the bundle, the weight of her love palpable. "Oh, thank you. Isn't she adorable?" Her voice broke at the sight of her daughter's peaceful face. "She's a healthy baby girl," Brunhilde affirmed. "That's great. I'm glad it's all going to work out. For her and my sister." Gertrude let the thought linger, trailing off into uncharted waters where hope collided with fear. Brunhilde nodded, her seriousness returning. "It was a big risk to make the duplicate, because I lied to Caligula. She thinks you're still in the city, and I told her I was lost, taken somewhere else." Gertrude nodded, internalizing the magnitude of Brunhilde's sacrifice. "That wasn't the best excuse, but I can think of a new plan to convince her. I just need a minute of rest." "Right. And what will you name your daughter?" Brunhilde asked, tilting her head curiously. Gertrude pondered, the weight of family legacy pressing upon her. "I don't know. So many names, but I don't want to repeat my father's codes. I want something unique." "Exactly," Brunhilde encouraged, her gaze hopeful. "Leonie," Gertrude finally said, the name rolling off her tongue like a secret promise. "That's a beautiful name," Brunhilde smiled, warmth unfurling in the chilly room. "What's next?" Gertrude's mind raced with possibilities. "I'm going to weave a story that they'll believe, that I'm just coming home." "But what if they notice you're not carrying your child anymore?" Brunhilde countered. "I'll pretend I still do. She trusts me," Gertrude assured, her resolve bolstering her voice. Brunhilde sighed with relief. "I'll keep your real daughter safe. They won't find out." "Who will care for her?" Gertrude asked, concern creeping back into her heart. "I'll ask Groupie." "She's a friend, not likely to reveal anything," Brunhilde suggested. "If not her, maybe Nurse Hatchet. She's quiet and loves to help the injured." "Are you sure?" Gertrude's brow furrowed, fear intermingling with trust. "Yes," Brunhilde replied, determination set in her stance. "And you can visit her regularly." Relief washed over Gertrude, but the specter of danger still loomed overhead. Together they plotted their escape from the shadows of their past, each crafted plan taking them closer to the light. In a world where certainty was a luxury, they clung to hope as if it were the only thing that could save them. The love for a daughter, the courage of friendship, these became their armor against the night. Caligula's eyes fluttered open, the dim light of the infirmary piercing through her hazy mind. The familiar scent of antiseptic mingled with the tang of metallic smoke, remnants of a battle far removed from this fragile sanctuary. Wounds pulsed with a dull ache, but her focus wasn't on her condition. It was on the medic, a young man fumbling with bandages nearby. "How is she?" Caligula croaked, her voice rough as gravel. Mixed emotions churned within her, the memories of the ambush fresh like scars. "We're doing our best, General," the medic replied, his brow furrowed in concentration. "But she needs—" Suddenly, the door swung open, revealing a cadre of troops, their faces solemn. "General! Captain Gertrude has arrived," one of them shouted, excitement barely lurking beneath the concern in his tone. "Bring her in," Caligula commanded, struggling to prop herself up despite the pain that throbbed through him. Hope flickered dimly as he anticipated Gertrude's entrance. She was much more than a comrade. She was her sister in arms and a crucial part of their plan to resist the ongoing onslaught of the task forces. Gertrude walked in, battered but undeniably alive. A small part of her rejoiced. Her presence was a beacon amidst the chaos. "Caligula," she breathed, then winced as she lowered herself onto the chair opposite him. "What a mess we've made, haven't we?" "How did you survive against Emily?" Caligula cut to the chase, urgency lacing her voice. The memory of their clash was a specter that haunted him, raising visceral fears of loss. "Let's just say I survived for several reasons," she said, offering a faint smirk that brimmed with defiance. "I have this ability to heal myself and possess super strength for short bursts. And of course, I know you're worried about me." "I was," she admitted, a weight settling in her heart. "You're my most biologically advanced weapon, my sister." "How could I not worry? But you didn't inform me about the intruders. Our hideout is in shambles thanks to the assault." She nodded slowly, her gaze sharp despite the weariness in her eyes. "I know. And you, did you lose your baby?" Caligula's heart sank. "No, I had to protect it from the intruders. They had no regard for life." Gertrude's expression hardened, the love for her unborn sibling radiating from her. "People think they can kill a pregnant woman easily, but you and I, we're forged from a different mold." "Still," Caligula replied, "it's a dangerous gamble. I've seen them resort to bombings. The choppers rain down destruction. They're relentless." Gertrude's tone turned softer, a rare vulnerability breaking through her armor. "I know, but you've always been my anchor in this storm. Every time we've endured, you made it possible." Caligula offered her a slight smile, despite the strain etched on her features. There was a trust between them, built on bloodshed, turmoil, and an unbreakable bond. "In this fight, we need that trust more than ever," she said, locking eyes with her. In that moment, the weight of their existence felt lighter. As long as they had one another, they could face the universe's fury together, even amidst the devastation of war. The medic bustled around them, a whirlwind of activity. Caligula knew their journey was far from over, but with Gertrude at her side, they stood a chance, not just for survival, but for a future worthy of hope.